Welcome to News VI. This is we have an opportunity right now to speak with Sir Eustace Grant. You know him as Dundeal, the fireman. Him and his team, they've been on this site for almost all of the day. And first off, we want to say hearts and prayers to everyone that's affected, the entire community that's affected. A landmark was destroyed in Gulf today, and a lot of businesses, a lot of people, a lot of lives are affected by it. But Mr. Grant, the men and women of the V.I.F. Fire Service, you all been there from wee in the morning. And if I understand correctly, you're just taking a minute to do this call, and then you're heading right back out there. And it's now 6:40 p.m.
Well, I'm the Deputy Chief of Fire Operations here in St. Thomas. Last night, about a little bit after midnight, we was called for a structural fire where an alarm came in and Limat Company was dispatched. After being dispatched, they found a part of the Fort Mylner shopping outdoor mall with fire involved. After surveying the area, they realized that the fire was quickly spreading and more personnel was brought on site. So under the command of Captain Anthony and 25 personnel, including personnel we had to call in, we was involved in a whole shopping mall fully engulfed, what we call a big blaze that destroyed, we have to say it destroyed the whole mall. Nobody was hurt. Of course, it's under investigation. So we was there throughout the whole night. We was relieved with different firefighters, fresh firefighters coming to work this morning at 8. We quickly relieved the guys that was there all night. Got in a fresh set of guys. Daylight coming in, we was able to see a lot more stuff. We called in Public Works, brought in some machinery because we had some collapsed buildings and collapsed roofing that got in the way of our firefighting strategies. So, we had to go different routes. But like I said, it was a building that wasn't going anywhere. The construction and things like that, built a long time ago. So the fire kind of engulfed it quickly. But we was able to, like I said, knock it down. We right now leaving the scene, just gathering up some stuff, but we're going to leave a truck on site, hitting some hot spots. We don't want to have to go for a rekindle anytime. So that's what we did. We did a full walk around. The director, myself, the other chief captains and site, we do a full walk around just to make sure the site is safe, taped it off. Our investigative team will be on site starting tomorrow morning, and they will do their part in just to determine and see where and how this fire started. But all our fire personnel are safe. Nobody, like I said, was hurt. We lost a lot of businesses, a lot of people out of work right now. But like I said, no life was lost, which is a good thing. I mean, it's hard to replace businesses, but that's something that, we rather than any kind of lives. So, Emmett, like I say, our team did a great job. I want to thank the D squad and the A squad team that came in today, our fire personnel who called in, Public Works, all the additional sources, Dundeal Water Trucking. Those guys gave us a big hand. Whopper, who called out because we had a situation with water at the time. They came, they gave their plus. Banco Popular, they fed the whole 25 guys, so, big up to Banco Popular. I mean, that's what you call, outreach. When people say people don't do this in the community, big up to Banco Popular. And ain't nothing like that. I mean, the guy just came down there and asked me how much guys we had. I said, well, we got at least 25 guys. He said, I'm going to feed everyone. You know what I mean? And it ain't like he forced food and he's asking you what you want to eat. So I'm saying, Emmett, they don't get no better than that.
Yeah.
But right now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna have a critique. We're gonna go over our strategy, how things went, how things could have get better, or whatever we could do and correct. But the ladies and gentlemen of the fire service, they did an excellent job. Like I say, from D squad right into A squad today, and these guys, the leaders of these groups, I must say, kudos to these guys, man. When you have to control a big scene like that. Guys here, there, and you have to make sure their safety, plus the public safety, plus getting a fire out. It's a lot of things go through your mind, and you have to be on your ball thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because it's electric, it's gas. You don't know the dangers that you're going to face, and you now have to go enter this bid, this battle. So I must say kudos to those guys, man, and of course for our management team, my director, chiefs, and like I say, we did a great job, just backing our guys with what we had to get with resources, and we did an excellent job in knocking it down. So like I say, right now you go down there, you're gonna see piles of little, rubble and stuff, and our investigative team, they're ready to get on the ball.
Awesome. I think there's nothing more that can be said other than congratulations. Thank you. A heartfelt thank you, as you said, to all the men and women, and shout out to Banco Popular, everyone that was there. You said Lima Company, that's the one right above Four Wings?
Yeah, that's true. There was the initial guys who was on there, and then they called out Echo and Hotel Company responding, and also Tango Company. So all 4 fire stations.
And which one is Tango Company?
Tango is in the west. That's our fire station on Fortuna. Okay. So we had all 4. We had North Side, Tongue and Country, and like I said, West.
Wow. Like you said, that was a major. That was an all hands on deck. That was all hands on deck. Like you said, right?
Emmett, being a firefighter, these are the kind of fires when you're glad to see your fellow firefighters who came out of their beds, out of their homes to give you a helping hand, because 12 hours, 16 hours going for it, people just don't understand. I mean, it might happen every day, but when we get them kind, it could do a wear and tear on you. Trust me, I was there from after 1 o'clock. I haven't got home as yet. I still here. We're making sure things are get back in order in case we get next call. So, that's what we're doing right now. I have my mechanics checking trucks. We're doing an overhaul of everything, see what we got, and we're ready to go.
Wow. A lot of insight, and that's what the purpose of this conversation was, to share. And we just wanted to see what all was entailed in it. But like you said, that part there that people don't get to hear and see, that you finish, but now you got to get back, because if you get another call, you are going to be able to
be ready. So, and again, like you said, there was the guys that they got there from 8, now it's after 6. You know what I'm saying? So, and they got to be ready in case of the next one. You know what I mean? So, like I say, people just look at the point that we might be resting or whatever you think we might be doing, but when we got to be out there, it could be a long day.
It's a wear and tear. It's a lot.
Very much a wear and tear.
What amazes me is you said you're all about to enter a conversation to discuss your strategy, and we don't want to get too much into your insights, but just thinking about a massive fire as this, your incident commanders, your hierarchy, how do you all get on a scene and put together a strategy to attack that?
Well, that's what I tell you. I give kudos to, our leaders, our captains and lieutenants. When these guys go on a scene and they have to size up, that's what we call it, sizing up. And they have to analyze how they're going to make this attack and how we're going to go about it, the dangers you're facing. And like I say, you still want to do 2 things. You want to keep the guys safe, the community safe, and you still want to extinguish. So now you got to come up with a plan, and you don't have all night to write it down and things. You got to come and tap on your fingers. So you always have to give these guys who run in these squads a lot of kudos, because, like I say, it's quick thinking. You got to be thinking on your feet. When you travel into the fire, you're thinking what you might be meeting, and you're thinking and talking to your guys on the truck and what we plan to do here, how we going to do this, what we going to do. We're going to go to the back. We got to cut a roof. We got to breach a door. You know what I'm saying? So it coming out, the instructions will be coming out of these guys' tongues at the snap of a finger. And then, of course, as more people come and say, more eyes come and say, we start to make our ideas and make things happen for the betterment again if fire extinguished.
Listen, compliments again, prayers, blessings to you all and your families, because while are you out there, while you all are unseen, your family is home. And as I'm talking about it again, a little goosebumps, because I could just imagine how your families are feeling, and they're just praying for your safe return.
Like we always say, Emmett, man, when we leave our house in the morning, that's why I always encourage it, for your guys and girls who live with, your children, your mother, your wife, whatever, to tell them you love them, because, Emmett, you don't know if you're going to come back home. You know what I'm saying? You never know if that's your fire or that's the one. You know what I'm saying? So, again, it takes great leadership. When people just thinking about water and a fire, it don't be like that. I mean, next day we could get more in depth in terms of how we go about it, but the strategies, and like I say, we just coming back now to think about maybe what we could do better for the next time, or what we went well, what didn't go well. That's how we go over our strategies for the next big one. That's how we always call it. we have to be ready for the next big one. So that's what we'll call it. We'll have a critique. You know, how we could size up better, how we could maybe use this equipment, this one a little better. And that's how we'll make ourselves better and keep ourselves on top of our game.
Listen, compliments, blessings, prayers, everything to everybody. Supportive team back at the stations, everyone are making it happen. The entire community coming together. Thank you all. That's the conversation we were looking forward to and wanted to hear. And again, hopefully you get some rest later. We're going to be speaking in a minute with Ms. Sandra Gutierrez, and she's from the insurance company, and just giving us an overview in a situation like this, what a business or individual has to go through starting the process with the insurance companies.
Yeah.
Mr. Grant, thank you once again. God bless, my brother. God bless.
Emmett, man, you know, it's like anytime, and like I say, anytime we have some time and we could talk on other stuff and fire, you don't have to be on the big days or like this. It could be any day you could talk. We could talk fire strategy or whatever. I could get some other guys and just having their, you know, hearing their insights. Because like I say, people only see us when we park up. But when we out there, and I know a lot of people that be saying, I could keep that job. You know what I'm saying?
I say that. I say that. I say that. And, you know, as we end right now, we just say compliments to see you going. I think we may have lost Mr. Eustace's phone, but we're going last finally compliment him because he's a cancer survivor. So I was just saying that your phone had tuned out, but I was just complimenting.
No, that's not calling me. We're going to do the critique, but like I say, man, hey, and this is the start of Fire Prevention Week, so look how we started up, you know what I mean? And we could get into that a little later in the week if you choose to, but this is the start of Fire Prevention Week, and like you said, we started off with a big one.
And I want to give it to you too because you're a cancer survivor, and big up to you going strong and keeping it here for our community.
I try, Mr. That's all I could do is try.
All right, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Take care.
This school year, all VI public school students will learn from home, at least until January. That means you should be properly groomed each morning. Put on your uniform shirt and a skirt or pants that reaches to your knees. Sit at your desk or a table with your back against the wall and turn on your computer and camera before class begins. Your teacher and your classmates can see you now. If you don't have a computer, you will still learn with your class. But every student will receive his or her very own Chromebook soon. Learning from home is still learning. Let's do it.
I want to welcome to all of WeTV News VI, Ms. Sandra Gutierrez. Did I say that correct?
Almost. You left out the Harty, Sandra Harty Gutierrez.
President of the VI Insurance Association. So I would like you to introduce yourself. But first, reason why we're talking to you, of course, hence today's event, today's fire, and our heart and our prayers goes out to everyone affected by it, our entire community. And we've been seeing some fires, and the fire service, they've been working. But it leaves some questions to viewers, to people on social media as to the process. And many people say insurance. So we're not going to comment on the situation itself, but what's the overall process of when a damage as this takes place that one who has coverage has to proceed and take? But first, let's allow you to introduce yourself and your group and what you all do.
Okay, so as I said before, as you said, I'm the president of the VI Insurance Association, and we are a group of some 22 insurance professionals that are made up of insurance agencies, insurance companies, insurance adjusters in the territory. And our purpose primarily is to foster best practices among the insurance professionals within the industry, to liaise with the various departments, the government departments, as far as it relates to insurance, and to educate the community on insurance matters. You know, that's something that is very important for us because we're a group of 22 professionals, but before right after the hurricane and even before that, you guys have known us on an individual basis, because all of you used to come to our offices on an individual basis, and you know your agents, you know your insurance companies. What we're just a combined front, where we are now making ourselves more visible, because we saw some of the stresses and heartaches that happened after Irma Maria, because we'd never seen anything of that level happen here in the Virgin Islands or anywhere else for that matter. So it was very heartbreaking to us when we had to be there in our offices, and our clients would come in and they wanted information about their insurance, and then they found out, unfortunately, sometimes the hardest thing for us was to tell people that they did not have insurance for that particular thing, or that they might have been underinsured, or something like that. So we don't ever want to see that happen, because that's the purpose of insurance, is that we want to be there for our clients when a crisis happens. So we have been making ourselves much more visible over the last few months, as far as doing outreaches and talking to people, and just making sure that you're prepared for a crisis such as this. And this took everybody by surprise, this fire. And this is one of the things that we always say, is that crises are very unpredictable. We have been talking about this for a few months, as I said, and we keep saying, be prepared. One of the things we want our people to know is to be prepared for a crisis, for a disaster. Now, some disasters are a little more predictable. We are in the hurricane season. We know that this is hurricane season. We know that we need to prepare. But something like a fire or an earthquake, there's just never any warning for that. So all that we can do is just tell people to just be prepared for these eventualities. And we're sad that this has happened. Our hearts go out to the owners of the property and the tenants in that property. I can only imagine how they must be feeling, because any type of loss, any type of disaster like this is always hard. No matter how you slice it, it's always hard. Even whether you have insurance or you don't have insurance, it's a stressful thing to happen. Okay.
And I thank you for that, the introduction. And as you said, you've answered a lot of the group and the purpose of y'all coming together. We're not going to ask any questions on Irma Maria related, but as you said, that's the purpose of insurance. And like we said, our hearts and our prayers. So we're going to just say generally in a situation, because in the St. Thomas district, we've seen from the Wheatley Center fire, now we're seeing the Fort Mylner, there was a home fire and a few more home fires. Actually, one home fire we covered. I could say 2 home fires off the top of my head. What's the general steps for someone who has insurance in this disaster, in a crisis as this now, the steps they would have to take?
Okay, so the first thing that we want to say is that you want to make sure that you are following the protocol of the fire department, the fire marshal, and you don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize your safety. We're very happy that from what I can see, there were no casualties, there are no fatalities or any injuries, so that's a good thing. But post the event, one of the requirements for our insureds are that you're going to want to try to salvage as much as you can from your business or your property. But we don't want you to do that if it's going to jeopardize your health and safety. So we want you to make sure that you have all the directives from the fire department, because there might even be some environmental issues surrounding that fire. What's left, the remnants of the building over there, you don't know. So you want to make sure that you're aware and you have the authorization to enter. And at that point, if you do have that and you can enter safely, then one of the things that you would need to do is to try to secure whatever it is that you have that's salvageable. Okay? You want to get what's salvageable. You want to try to protect it as best as possible. If you have to move it from the premises, that's what you need to do. You want to take photos of the damage, And hopefully you would have had photos prior to the damage that you can have both sets of photos to present to your insurance company. You want to make sure that you are contacting your insurer as soon as possible and let them know of what happened, and they can start taking information from you, and then they'll assign adjusters or whatever the case may be. But the first thing you want to do is to reach out to your insurance professional and advise them accordingly of what happened. And you want to try to gather all the information that you may have, your records, okay, your inventories from before, any kind of accounting records that you might have. Make sure that you have all of these things prepared to take to your company or agent and have them help you to sort through and to prepare what it is that you need to present to your adjuster. Okay? So definitely photos are helpful, and you want to protect anything that you can from further damage. If you have items that are not usable anymore and they're just salvage, you just want to make a list of them, and you want to make a list of what's salvageable and what's not salvageable. The idea is to get as much information as possible. That's always going to help you in the long run.
For the anyone in a crisis, something happens, a disaster, is there a typical time frame where between start to finish that should be complete, or each situation is unique?
Every situation is different, and as I said, it's helpful if you have all your information available, because then that's going to make your process go a lot faster. Okay? It's always prudent to get information as fast as possible to the insurance companies. All right? They are going to require that you give them as much information as soon as possible. I mean, as I said, in a crisis, it's unpredictable a lot of times, and every situation is different. But the rule of thumb is that you just want to make sure that you have all your information and that you're going to present them as fast as possible and as complete as you can. We know in a crisis that sometimes it's hard to pull things together, but hopefully you would have had some good records, and maybe even your agent can maybe help you to reproduce some things that if you might not be able to put your hands on it or something like that.
So does the client ever get to insure 100% value of their business or property, or is it like a 50 to 90%? How does it work?
Okay, so the client can insure for what they want to insure for. However, when I say that, that is with a lot of caveats, because there is such a thing as insurance to value and property insurance. Okay, so you always want to be insured for the replacement cost, the cost to rebuild or replace your property. And we're talking about real property now, in real estate buildings, okay? You want to make sure that when you have a building and you're insuring it, whether it's for a home or a commercial building, that you're insuring it to value, because insurance is based on cost to rebuild. It's not based on the market value. So don't insure it for how much you can sell it for. Sometimes the market value and cost to rebuild may be a little close, but it's based on cost to rebuild. Now you want to insure for, at the time of loss, you want to make sure that you have at least 80% of the value of that property as your insured value, because at the time of loss, that's what the company is going to look and see if you're insured for at least 80% of the cost to rebuild that building. Okay? Some policies may vary. So again, sit with your broker or your agent and go through your policy and see what the amount is that's required. Is it 80% or is it 90%? You want to make sure that you're not below that so that you don't incur a penalty at the time of loss with your building and your buildings insurance. But you're going to be guided by your policy. Again, each policy may be different, worded a little differently, but in general, that's the gist of how it works. Insurance is based on the cost to rebuild your building.
Awesome. I guess now is the fitting time to allow you as the president send a message to anyone who may not be insured as a message of convincing them to be insured.
Well, it speaks for itself, and we can't tell you often enough. In our industry, we call it all the time Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law apply, and Murphy's Law pretty much means whatever can happen will happen when you least expect it, and never at the opportune time. So that is what we're guided by, and we can't urge you enough to make sure that you have insurance. Make sure that you have insurance. I mean, we have people who might come into our office to insure a vehicle. And I'm not just talking about my office, but in general, my member agencies, member companies. I mean, we see it all the time. They come in and insure a vehicle and they leave. And guess what? Walk into the parking lot and boom, there's an accident right there. So we can only urge you to just always be prepared, be vigilant, be prepared.
And I could say,
I say it differently.
I could say I was never a buyer of full coverage, but recently I did for a vehicle, and like you said, Murphy's Law applied, and thank God we had full coverage. Everything went great. We had some great people who were involved in the situation, or we got involved with them, and everything went smoothly. From the insurance company to the clients, police officers, everyone. So it was a much pleasant experience, and it felt better knowing that you were covered.
Fantastic. That's what we like to hear.
Well, again, great. And, the purpose of our conversation was to enlighten. Of course, things happen, and a lot of, in our community, a small community that it is, it generates a lot of chatter. But we want to definitely get with those who are the professionals in the respective industries to just clarify, so everyone could be, the eyes could be open and could have a better understanding how things.
Right. And there's always going to be, just want to caveat again, there's always going to be a deductible on your claim. All right. So there will always be a deductible. So, look out for that you will have a deductible on your claim. So, okay.
All right. Once again, thank you.
All right.
We look forward to talking more in the future.
Thank you. All right. Have a good night.